Hello, my name is Janetta McDowell. I'm the Director of Rose Float at Cal Poly Pomona. I'm excited to not only oversee this program, but having the opportunity to continuously be on the Pasadena Tournament of Roses Parade for over 60 years. We are the only college or university that not only builds and finances our float, but we construct it as well. The students come from a variety of different majors, from engineering to hospitality, to business, to those that want to become teachers. We have an opportunity for every student to become involved in Rose Float. We carry out the university motto of learn by doing by giving students a hands-on opportunity to build something that is seen by millions every single year. Additionally, we also offer a Rose Float course that I teach each year, and that course gives them the opportunity to carry out the theories that they're learning within the classroom setting into practice within the Rose Float setting. One of the unique things about working with Rose Float is a lot of people think that we get started on the float in the fall, when in actuality, we start our process in January, from tearing down the float to starting and building the next year's float. All of this is a year-long process.
What happens is Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly San Luis Obispo, we hold what is called a concept contest, and that usually happens a few weeks after January 1st.
We're supposed to look at all the concepts that we have had submitted to us. We're supposed to rank them. We go through a voting process, narrow it down to we initially cut off like half, then from there we cut off another half, then we rank like our top 10, and then from there we have like anywhere between a 4 to 5 hour discussion to get it down to our top 5.
So once we lock down with tournament what our final concept will be, we then, as a design team on both campuses, come together once again and we look at the concept and we see, all right, what can we add, what can we take away that will develop the float, that will make it float ready in a sense. And from there, we'll be able to then talk to construction and ask them, all right, this is what design wants, what mechanisms can we have to make this float look cool? And then we'll ask Deco, what colors can we bring? And after that, we'll talk to a renderer to further the process.
I'll begin working with the design, the deco, and the construction teams all together to see what they want to do with the float in terms of making things move, what things are going to look like, and even how they're decoed. The design team kind of leads my drawings, showing me what they want it to look like. But then I get to communicate those drawings to the construction team to figure out how what it's going to look like is going to relate to how it's going to move and how it's going to be driven and how we're going to hide everything underneath, from the propane tanks to the engine to the mechs. Everything just has to be completely concealed. Once those drawings are more finished and more developed, I start to look at, with the deco team, how big things are going to be, what the surface areas of everything are going to be, so we can begin to figure out just how many flowers we're going to need to cover every single individual surface of the float.
Well, the halves of the float are naturally owned individually by each campus. So Pomona naturally owns the front half with their animation engine. San Luis Obispo owns the back with their drive engine. Only a small portion is actually built separately. A lot of it is built when we come together.
Hello, my name is Gary Weisenberger. I've been transporting the float back and forth for 30 years now. Once the students have completed their part in San Luis Obispo, I show up on a Friday morning and we use a couple forklifts and a half a dozen students, and we load it onto the low bed and tie it down. Because it's a wide load, we have to put wide load signs out, flags, extra lights and stuff to get it ready. It takes about, like I said, 4 hours. I leave Cal Poly in San Luis on Highway 1, and then I get on to 101 and come all the way down to Ventura. Then I take 126 across over to 5. I get on 5 and go just a little ways, and I get on to 210, and that comes on down, drops into Pasadena, on out 210 till I hit Highway 57. To see the interest in what the students really learn, I teach at Cal Poly, and that's really the rewarding experience, is to see them come in as first-time students and not knowing a whole lot or think they know everything, and start doing work and learn a whole bunch and be able to apply everything. As they really learn a lot of leadership skills and about working together.
As you can see, the float does not come out of the box with flowers on it. We start from pencil steel as a foundation for our float. So what you're going to see is the students building the float from the ground up. They start with a layer of pencil steel, kind of like an outline of the float that they intend to make, and then they go from there.
It's good if it comes off in one chunk, not if it comes off like multiple.
Yeah, originally, I didn't know how cheese was gonna be nice.
Was it flying today? I don't think they're released one that's flying. But technically, if you don't know what it is and it's flying,
As you'll see today, we're doing our MIT1 inspection with the Pasadena Tournament of Roses. So we have a couple of safety checks with the Tournament of Roses. They are in the form of inspections. Today being our first one, which is our mechanical inspection and our technical inspection. A lot of those that you see in the white suits are actually Cal Poly alums. They want to continue being involved in Rose Float in some capacity, and they do so by getting involved in various committees, whether that be on the construction committee, or today we do have our lead inspector is an actual Cal Poly alum. One of the great things is when we do these types of inspections, it really does give the students the opportunity to practice their public speaking while also going over some of the technical components of our float. The inspectors will from time to time test the students' theory and knowledge on their particular float and make sure that they know what's printed in the Tournament of Roses manual. I know you're probably wondering, what is this stuff that's coming out and being applied to the float right now? Well, that's actually foam. That foam will go on top of the sheeting that you've previously saw, and will create a layer so that the students will paint it, give it some texture, and give the students an opportunity to be able to vial it with fresh flowers. You know, we have to incorporate some fun into Rose Float. Rose Day is an opportunity for us to get the campus community excited about what's getting ready to happen on January the 1st. We don't necessarily bring down the float, but we'll bring down different elements of the float. But we'll also give students, faculty, and staff the opportunity to engage with our committee members. That engagement looks like maybe pieing a president, maybe taking pictures, or maybe even finding out about what our float is all about. Students will be on hand to ask questions about different technical aspects of the float, as well as what are some of the different elements that are on the float. This year, we had an opportunity to have staff council come down and to do one of their raffles. Staff council is one of our supporters on campus that has a special committee designated to Rose Float, and they will give back to Rose Float in the form of food donations and other various donations during our busy time of the year. So thanks for supporting the Rose Float Club and committee at our Rose Day. Yep, it's that busy time of year again. You're seeing us in Design Week. The students are very busy shaping and screening the float right now. Screen, well, that's pretty much what you see in your windows. That same type of screen is applied to the elements that they have shaped with pencil steel. So from here, they'll go into painting, but this aspect here is our shaping and screening. This is M2T2, as well as painting. So you'll see our float going down the street. This is our last check with the tournament before we're essentially given the green light to participate in the parade. We always hope for a successful inspection, and this one here was no different. It also gives us the opportunity to try out our animation as well as our sound. And the students that are riding in the float also have to do an emergency safety drill. They should be able to exit out of the float within a certain period of time. You'll also notice that a lot of the float is painted by this point as well. There's still some elements that have to be painted. They'll finalize that. And Josh D'Acquisto from San Luis Obispo, you'll also notice that he'll be cocooning some of the elements as well. We are moving the float to Pasadena, and yes, it's going to take a long time because we have to go extremely slow. Pay attention and see if everything makes it to Pasadena without any incidents. What do you think?
There she goes.
Sweet. Phil.
Thanks.
You're welcome. You ready?
Who started it? Thomas there?
You ready? I'm gonna close you in.
It's the 3rd of October, you should come over. Best laid plans are not sober. Maybe not the way we thought we planned, but both of us will take this hand for a couple of days and then we'll disappear. We don't have to talk of where we go from here. Oh, my dearly departed. My dearly departed. One final shoulder here before we're none, and then there were none. This last call could be all we can do for each other. Embrace for a dear old friend. Bring wine to bed, we'll toast what could have been. My dearly departed, too. My dearly departed.
Oh, no way.
Oh my god, I thought your drama was you.
Don't fill off.
Did it fall off and just start rolling on the street? That's nice. Boom. Yeah. You're lucky it didn't take out. It didn't roll. Yeah, it just stopped once it hit.
Today is our first day of Decorations Week. This is the week where we will put the final touches on our float. You'll see an influx of volunteers over the week. Today is just the beginning. Have fun.
Yeah, use the sponge to pat it down.
Hello there, my name is John Catalano. I'm the president for Cal Poly University's Rose Float. And this right here is Morgan Montalvo. She's the construction chair for San Luis Obispo and the driver for this year's float.
Hi, my name is Morgan Montalvo. I'm this year's SLO construction chair and I'll be driving the float this year. It's my first year driving and I've only had about 4 times practicing with the inspections and then driving it out here and a few other times. So when I hit parade route, it'll be a completely different experience. I only have control over the speed and how fast we go with the joystick, the horn, and just steering. My observer is on the brakes and everything else and keeping an eye on the road for me.
Hello, my name is Kyle Nelius. I am the construction chairman for the Cal Poly Pomona campus, and I am sitting in my observer compartment. So as the observer, I am basically the eyes and ears for our driver. I will be looking at 3 viewports for the parade, 1 directly in front of me and the other 2 off to my left and right. I'll have a monitor to my right. as well as visual. I'll have the brake pedal for float, so if we ever need to have an emergency stop, it'll be by my left foot, and I just press the brake and the whole float stops. To my right, I have our blue tow box, so if ever the float needs to get towed during the parade, basically I just flip a couple levers and the float is ready to be towed during the parade.
My name is Ryan Martin. I'm a fourth-year electrical engineer at Cal Poly Pomona, and this year I am the 5th operator of the Cal Poly Rose Float. My job is actually specifically to monitor the snowball mechanism. Inside my compartment, I have everything I need to monitor both the reception of the snowball and then hopefully the return of the snowball as well. Also in my compartment, I have the main hydraulic levers for the overheight mechanisms because there's a bridge over the parade route. So I'm actually in control of the overheight mechanism, make sure that we don't clip that bridge.
We'll sleep in here all night. So the day before the parade, we drive the float out to lineup, and the people who are in the float, like the operators, will get pretty close because we have to stay with the float all night. So we actually end up sleeping in the float the night before and then getting up and driving it in the morning.
Especially now, things are hectic. Let each other know where you're at. Keep communication ties.
It looks like it might just be the top.
Yeah, the top looks like it saved it.
So the first issue is that it got really cold here last night. So I don't know if you can see, but the water turned to ice. Also over here, some of our vials froze as well. And then what they're working on now is some of our water line froze. So how that impacts us today is most of these buckets need to be filled up with water, and we need to get the water in before our next, hopefully before our next flower truck comes in. And so we're trying to work through all of these issues quickly. I'm trying to come up with backup plans. We didn't quite know it was going to get this cold last night, but we're working to resolve everything as quickly as possible.
How do they not insulate their pipes when they know it's going to? So our water hoses froze, that and the PVC that's supplying them. We found at the far end of this tent, there's actually a PVC pipe tap that's working. So what we're doing is took all our hoses, we're coiling them in front of an electric heater, and then we're gonna try to link them all together to get water from the far end of the tent.
Well, I don't think you zip tie it the same way. I don't know. But yeah, I used to like throw one.
Pomona. Near Cal Poly is just a town south of San Francisco. Yeah, it's like a really big rose farm. Here, separating.
Hey, Robert. Yeah. Do we have anything? Let me go ask. Thomas is in the Oh, the ones with the roses?
Hi, I'm Audrey Doan, and I'm a third-year industrial engineering major from Cal Poly Pomona. This is my second float that I've worked on for the Cal Poly University's Rose Float program. This is such an honor for this year. I am the design chair for the Pomona campus, and we've been all year preparing for this very moment leading up to January 1st. It's been starting with developing our concept to finding a final rendering and building all of our different elements, basically making a float, and doing this all with the communication between both campuses, between Cal Poly Pomona and Cal Poly SLO. Today we got our first big shipment, and that consisted of roses, mums, gerbs, all of that. Basically the main things you'll see on this float. We have a reefer back in our area, and we'll be keeping it cool, and today we'll be processing them. So basically we'll be cutting out down the stems, cutting out the leaves, and cutting it to the size that we need so that it'll fit the vials, and then putting them back in the reefer and feeding it with flower food so that it could stay fresh until around, I want to say, December 29th, December 30th, where we'll start putting them onto the float.
Quiet, I've never like gotten all that much out of here. We'll figure it out tonight.
Yeah, it's kind of like later tonight. It's like, yeah, no, it's too dark.
Today is our 4th day of Decorations Week. You'll see some of the farmers from California Cut Flower Commission, as well as our preparation going into judging.
We can fill them and then take them over there. Oh. But nobody's writing it down.
It's day 4 of 5 for us. Today we're finally getting some fresh on. Majority of what you see here, our chrysanthemums, are going to be on all our gummy bears today. That's the huge goal, the huge milestone that we'll reach today. And so tomorrow we could focus on getting the roses and Gerber daisies in vials and onto the float. The whole team's pulling together really well. We're on track. We're actually way ahead of schedule of what I expected them to be. And this is going to be not as stressful as years past, definitely. I'm not frazzled at all, and I'm trying to keep my team to that standard, and they've been meeting it, and so hooray to them, and I can't wait to get this float done.
My role here at the Rose Parade this year is actually working with Cal Poly University and the California Cut Flower Commission and organizing with the floral arrangements that will go on the float, as well as been working with CCFC and Cal Poly University in deciding some of the flowers that will go on the float itself and helping with some of the selections as far as various different things that we'll be using on the float. We are in the process of doing the designs, the larger designs that will go on the float, and we'll be working with those today and tomorrow, and hopefully we'll be done by the end of the day tomorrow, as well as I will be helping with the students on anything that may come up or arise. Basically, if there's any issues or problems with some of the dried product that's going on or any of the florals that are going on otherwise.
Hello, hi, my name is Juan Carlos Aguilar, and I am representing the CCFC, which is the California Cut Flower Commission. We are helping or talking about the California Grown movement. So what we're mainly doing is creating conscience of people about the flowers that are being used on the float. Only 4 floats that are in the parade are California Grown certified. For instance, the Cal Poly Pomona and San Luis Obispo float is California Grown certified. And what that means is that 85% of their flowers used in the float are grown in here in California.
Hello, I'm Thomas Much. I'm the animation operator for this year for Cal Poly's 2016 entry Sweet Shenanigans, and this is my second year as electrical lead. So let me tell you a little bit about this compartment and what's inside of here. So right here is C-Rio. This is basically the equivalent of our animation computer. So on parade day, I'll have a laptop out running the program LabVIEW, and LabVIEW communicates with C-Rio and sends basically, we have string pods on various mechanisms throughout the float. As the string pods extend and retract, they basically send message or signal to C-Rio here. And from that, it's like, okay, extended this far, now it's time to retract it, or it's extended this far, slow it down a little bit before the retraction. Okay, it's retracted this far, time to slow it down a little bit before we extend it again, and things like that. So basically, C-Rio communicates next with, or sends signal to Master and Commander 3 here. Basically, Master Commander 3 is our manual override box, hence manual control, Master Commander, MC. Yeah, so we have 6 different mechs that we power through it. And to make it work, basically if we switch it down and make the light blue, that is our C-Rio control, our computer control. And if we have it red, that mech is completely off. If we go all the way to green, that's manual mode. How it works is basically we have a potentiometer here that sends positive 12 or negative 12, positives to extend the cylinder, negatives to retract the cylinder. If it's at the center where the detent is for the potentiometer, it's at 0. So basically I turn it to the right to extend the cylinder, left to retract it, and that's how this box works.
So today we're moving the float out of the tent, going over final judging. You'll also get an opportunity to see the float in a natural light, as well as the students going around, escorting the judges and telling them a lot about our float.
Are we going to leave it running before the start of judging, or what's the plan?
Shooting for that, I want that so bad.
Happy New Year! Today is January the 1st, the day that we've been waiting for the entire year. Sit back, relax, and enjoy Sweet Shenanigans as we come around the corner. And guess what? You might see an award banner with it. Thank you for your support for the entire year.
always look back and say, yeah, I've accomplished something in college that not very many other people can say. That's one of the big takeaways for me, is that I get to say forever that I helped build a rose float. There's not very many people that can say that, so that makes me feel like I've done something important.
I just think it's really great to be involved in something that's larger than yourself, because without that, then what experience are you really getting? So like you see an end product, and that's something great. It's not just, oh, I'm in this club and we go to meetings. You also have other commitments within it, and in the end you see something massive that's magical essentially, and it's just a great experience overall.
I don't know, I wish I did this earlier because it was a lot of fun and I learned a lot. So. And I'll miss everyone from graduating, so that's sad, but.
This is a huge honor, in my view, to work on the float, because we're a campus of 30,000 students, and there's 30 of us that work on it every year from Pomona, and same goes for SLO. And to represent our school on January 1st is a huge respect and a huge honor, because this is the only working college that we get to do this at. And we're competing with professional float builders who have a few $1 million to build a float, and we have drastically less. And we always win every year. We take that with great pride.
Looking back at all the pictures, it's funny just to watch how much we've changed and how we're different. We just look different, and we're all, how we all came together and we built an amazing float.
I think my favorite moment of the year is parade day, when I'm not looking at the float. I'm happy for the float, but I'm not looking at the float, I'm looking at the team. And I'm watching their smiling faces, and I can see their pride. It shines on parade day.